Today we are going to see a small presentation on RF signal classification using CNN. So we will be discussing the basics of CNN. Okay, how to run the how to perform the RF signal classification using CNN. So first slide. Okay, so artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is a branch of science that tells the computer, okay, how to act as a human brain. So it is a very vast field. Plenty of applications are available like pattern recognition, speech recognition, computer vision. Everything comes under your artificial intelligence. In that machine learning, it is just a small class or small subset of artificial intelligence. Okay, it deals with the statistical tools in order to improve the accuracy of your system performance in detecting the features or of the particular image. So there are plenty of machine learning techniques are there like logistic regression, support vector machine, neural network models. Lot of the things are there. Main applications are like autonomous car, like self car driving, autonomous grocery store, your online video streaming like Netflix, and Facebook friends tagging, and face recognition and image recognition in Facebook, or your camera, you are unlocking your camera phone using your face. All those things comes under machine learning applications. Two types of machine learnings are there: supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning. Supervised machine learning is nothing but you are training the system, okay, that where the data is labeled by its class. You are labeling the data by its class. So the problems regarding classification and regression problems comes under supervised machine learning techniques. Today whatever we are going to do, the RF signal classification using CNN using WiGuide, it comes under the supervised machine learning. The second technique is unsupervised machine learning, where the data is not labeled by the system. The problems related to clustering and association problems comes under the unsupervised machine learning. Deep learning is again a small subset or a subclass under machine learning. It deals with the models to extract its features. There are plenty of models are there, but we are going to take only the convolution neural network for our RF signal classification. So with this small introduction, we are moving on to the next slide. Okay. So machine learning applications for RF. So previously I mentioned some applications, that is in general. Here now we are going to apply our machine learning for our RF signals. So these are the applications like RF fingerprinting, where you are detecting the or you are identifying the radio device. So there are plenty of radio devices connected. You are just connecting whether this is from this device or that device. Okay, particularly in mobile communication, suppose you are capturing any signal, so you are just classifying whether the signal has come from the tower 1 or tower 2. Okay, the second main application is anomaly detection, in that particularly early warning systems for defense and commercial. So particularly regarding the tsunami or any heavy rain. Okay, so you are alerting everyone by seeing the last few hours updated images. So detecting the edge, whatever the image satellite images you have collected, you are just seeing the edges, or you are extracting the fine features of them, and you are correctly extracting the fine features, and you are correctly predicting where the rainfall is going to happen or where the tsunami is going to hit everything. And next one is RF signal classification under spectrum awareness. Today we are going to discuss what is RF signal application. So apart from this, you are using in the dynamic spectrum access environment and cognitive radio applications. So with this we move on to the RF data. So main picture is the CNN is for image data, but we are going to collect our data using an SDR. We are going to collect an RF data. So how you are going to process this RF data using a convolution neural network or CNN model, which is well known for the image data. So first thing is the raw RF signal is a complex valued signal. It is split into the in phase and the quadrature phase components. So whatever the data you are going to collect through SDR is nothing but a raw RF data. It is a complex valued data. It will be split into two channels, in phase components and quadrature components, and the signal phase is very important here. Still now there is no standard deep learning networks available for the complex value data. We are having only the training sets. So standard large commercial, okay, labeled data set till now it is unexistent for RF data when we compare to the image. So image, you have a lot of ImageNet, okay, a lot of models, okay, lot of image data sets are available, but it is not possible with this RF data. So the complex data can be represented in the multiple domains, including time and frequency varying features. Okay. So now, since we are going to use CNN to classify our RF signals, so first we want to understand what is CNN, convolution neural network model. So input is nothing but the image, okay, it is going to process and going to give an output image. So in between there are four layers, okay. The first layer is a convolution cum activation layer, okay, two layers inbuilt. Second one is a pooling layer, third one is, and fourth one are the fully connected layers. So what you are going to do, you are going to send the 2D image data to this convolution layer. So the first layer, there will be a convolution, you will be having a filter or a kernel of a fixed size 3 cross 3. In our case we are taking 3 cross 3, or you can increase the size 5 cross 5, 7 cross 7, whatever else. So what is going to do is, it going to do the convolution between your input data, whatever the matrix values or the pixel values, with the filter or the kernel weights. 3 cross 3 is a filter, right? And the output is nothing but it is generating a feature map. It is extracting the important features of your input image. So you are going to do a convolution between your input data, image pixel values, and the filter weights in the kernel, and the result you are going to generate the feature map, extracting the important details or fine details of the image. Next we are going to apply a activation function. Here we are adopting a ReLU, rectified linear unit, to remove all the non-linearities present along with the convolved values, so that you can back up propagate, and you can adjust your training weights so that you can improve the quality of your features, or you can extract your features, or you are extracting the fine details of your features. Second layer is a pooling layer. The input image, okay, here we are taking an input image of size 28 cross 28 cross 2. So 28 cross 28 is nothing but the width and height of the image. So I'm going to have a 28 cross 28 values here. Cross 2 is nothing but we are having two channels from our SDR, whatever data, in phase components quadrature, or in phase channel quadrature channel, that two channels. So the number of samples what we are going to have is 28 cross 28 cross 2, that 1568 samples we are having. So we want to reduce the image step by step so that you can extract the fine details. So fine details if you are reducing the size of the image. So the pooling layer, you are just downsampling the image so that the matrix size reduces, and finally you select the one maximum value among the four values, because the in pooling layer you are using the kernel of filter size 2 cross 2. Sorry, it's not mentioned here. So like in convolution layer, how we are mentioning the kernel 3 cross 3, here you are using a 2 cross 2 filter. So 2 cross 2 filter or kernel in the pooling layer is applied on them your incoming input, and it takes one value among the four values and it gives us the output. Next stage is a two fully connected layer. First fully connected layer is a dense layer, okay. A dense layer represents the neurons which is fit to your local regions, okay. And the last fully connected layer, or the second fully connected, is nothing but a softmax layer, which is combining all your outputs to decide or classify your signals into based upon the number of classes or number of labels, okay. So it otherwise you can say it contains the all possible probability of labeling your image or labeling your image. So with this RF signal classification using CNN, so we are using a deep learning based signal classification. Here we are using a convolution neural network model. Okay, here we are going to take 3 or 4 signals. So here we are taking 4 signals, FM or you can say WFM signal. So FM signal operates between 88 to 108 megahertz. So you can go into, you know what are the current FM channels available, you know the carriers of the FM channel. Similarly, GSM downlink frequency is from 935 to 960 megahertz. So between that band, you are going to scan the GSM frequencies present nearby and you are going to take that corresponding carrier frequencies. LTE, we are going to take the band 19, okay, 850 band, I think so. So we are going to use the carrier frequencies for LTE is 883 megahertz and 884 megahertz. And rest other signals we defined as others. So if this particular carriers, then it will classify either FM, GSM or LTM. If it is not following any of this carrier, then it will be classified as the other signal. First step is to prepare the data, next is to train the data, next is to finally test your data and list your prediction scores or whatever classification scores based on the classifiers you have used. Here you are going to train your convolution neural network model using Keras on the TF background or backend, that is TensorFlow backend. Finally, you are making to predict or classify your signals into your 4 classes. Okay, you can also extend these classes also, but in here we have limited to 4 classes. Okay, so this is a model for any kind of supervised machine learning technique. Okay, so you have a data with you. So in our case, the data is the RF data. We are collecting the RF data for the signals like FM, GSM and LTE. So you are going to prepare and your SDR is going to collect the data. So in this way, you have achieved the first step, your data. Okay, next step, that the data has been given to both training and the testing destinations or testing folders. Okay, this data is named as same training and test data. Now model building, you know, we are using the Keras model with TensorFlow backend. Okay, and your architecture is the CNN architecture. So based on this model, you are going to train the data. Once so you can set the ratio here, whether you are going to have a 70% testing or a rest 30% for validation, 70% for training and 30% for validation, or you can change the ratio, 50% training, 50% validation. So based upon the model, first it will train, next rest of the samples is used to validate the model. In our case, we have considered 75%, 20%. So for example, we assume that we captured 100 samples of data. So 100 samples of data there in the training and testing. So what we'll be doing, first out of the 100% training samples, 75%. So 75 samples are used for training the model. Rest 25% is used for validating the model. So after training in such a way, you will compare your new data. You will compare your new data with already available test data. Okay, you will compare this and you will see the predictions, how many has been correctly classified, or if any miscommunication between the signal classification or any classes, you will be knowing those things. So with this, so training data generation, so you can generate the training data in 2 ways. Okay, one using your Waveguide Pro, second one is using neighboring cell phone towers. Okay, actually I'll tell you what both the methods is. First, Waveguide Pro is nothing but a transmitter. Okay, this transmitter is based on the GNU. Okay, here we are generating the signals. Okay, so this acts as a transmitter, this will generate the signals, that signals will be captured by your Waveguide. Okay, then you will go for your RF signal classification. Okay, you are not going to use this one because you don't have any transmitter. The second method is using neighboring cell phone towers. So you have the cell phone towers around you. Okay, 2G towers, GSM towers. So today we are and you have your FM signal. So FM signals 882, you can scan your FM frequencies, GSM frequencies from the neighboring towers, even LTE from the neighboring towers. So you are not going to use any transmitter. Waveguide Pro based transmitter, you are going to collect the data from the neighboring cell phone tower. So with this, okay, from the neighboring cell phone towers, okay, I'm going to collect three different signals, okay, FM, LTE, okay, GSM. The rest other signals I have considered as the others. Here FM frequency is 93.5 megahertz. Okay, so you have plenty of frequencies, right? 98.3, 101 and 102, 105. So you know the FM frequency. You can tune for any FM frequency. You can select, or you can go for one or more FM frequency. It is up to the designer choice. And LTE, either you can go for 884 or 883. So you know that band, 850 band. So you can select any carrier frequency, but it's better to go with 882, 883 and 884. Next is GSM. You know the band 933.5 to 960 is the downlink band. So in the program, it's better to scan the frequency. So you have plenty of GSM carriers, but all the carriers not present around your Wi-Fi Pro, because your Wi-Fi Pro is the your Wi-Fi is the receiver. So first you want to scan with your Wi-Fi. So there is some separate command KL is there to scan what are the nearby GSM frequencies present around you or where you are using your Wi-Fi device. So you can scan that particular frequency, suppose 939.6 or 938.4 or 940. You can select the list of GSM frequencies around you. That particular frequency you can go for training. So here for each training I have chosen the 100 samples in order to simulate as fast as possible. So you can go for 500 or 1000. You can increase the number of samples. So this leads to more computation. Finally your simulation time increases. So here I fixed the ratio of 75% for training and 25% for testing. So 75 out of 100, 75 testing, 75 for training, 25 for testing. So if I increase 500, then this number varies to 375 and 125. If I increase this to 1000, then it will become 750 and this will become 250. This is up to your choice. You can select any. But the reason for selecting the very low values here is to speed up your simulation. Next one is data preparation. So how you are going to prepare your data? So I'm going to keep a SD. I'm going to use my SDR to collect my data. So I know my sampling frequency. Okay. So now I know my carrier frequency. So I'm setting. So I know the carrier frequency of the signal which I'm going to prepare the data. Okay, I'm going to scan for this. Last table I shown you the carrier frequencies of 3 signals. Okay, you can select the carrier, you can fix the carrier frequency and you can select the signal. Sampling frequency is the sampling frequency of your SDR. Here I kept 2.4 mega samples per second. I'm using a 8-bit ADC, and I can go for a decimation of either 12 or 24, but here in the simulation I'm going to show for decimation of 12. Okay, so SDR, I'm fixing my sampling rate and my decimation rate and the carrier frequency of frequency. So these are the input parameters to the SDR. Now the SDR operates, it collects the raw samples. Okay, it is in complex format, consists of both real and imaginary components, or in phase, it consists of in phase and the quadrature phase components, that is IQ samples. So the n number of samples, n represents the number of samples I'm capturing from the SDR. Next, I'm going to convert my RF samples into an image. So suppose if n is something like 6000 or some 1000, whatever it be the value, the 1000 samples, how I am going to convert into the image format. Suppose 1000 samples first for in phase channel and next for the Q phase channel. That's why this 2 represents, one for in phase, one for Q phase. And next one is 28 cross 28. This is the size of my image. So first, whatever the samples coming, 28 into 28 is nothing but it is something like 784. So out of 6000 samples, 784 samples will be in the first matrix. Then next 784 in the second matrix. So like that you can have n number of matrices. So if you vary the number of samples, this also varies. Okay, this X represents how many such matrices is going to be there. If suppose n is 6000, I am going to keep in one matrix 784. How many such matrices is going to be there? Okay, so that represents this X. Now this is the input. Now I converted my RF samples into a image format. Okay, so here I'm using certain tuning parameters. Okay, by using the tuning parameters, I converted my SGR samples into the image samples that has been passed to the CNN. Okay, convolution neural network. We have seen what are the layers present in the convolution neural network. So the input to this convolution neural network is 28 cross 28 cross 2 image. Okay, okay, this is the input. So based upon the some parameters tuning here, you know, the filter size, kernel size in convolution layer and max pool layer. Okay, and you know the number of filters vary. So all these are the parameters we are tuning here. We are classifying the signals into 4 classes or whatever the classes you are taking, or 3 classes, whatever else. Okay, so with this, first we are capturing the samples from SDR. So Fs is my sampling frequency. So obviously reciprocal of sampling frequency is the sampling time. Ns or n, in the diagram, sorry, I specified n. So this can be the total number of samples. So the total duration is, so if Fs is equal to 2.4 mega samples per second, then my total number of sampling frequency is this much. Okay, then my total number of samples will be, so 1 divided by 2.4 mega samples per second will be 6 into 10 power 5 samples. Okay, so my sampling time will be 0.417 microsecond. Okay, so the overall time duration I want to capture for 6 into 10 power 5 samples is 0.25 second. If this number of samples varies, then your time duration, so how long you are going to capture the data, so that represents this time. T is equal to 0.25 second. So here I use the decimation of 24. Okay, you can keep your own decimation, either 12 or 24. So I captured the samples for 6 into 10 power 5. So number of samples divided by your decimation rate is, the overall samples is 25,000 I have captured. Okay, so this represents the real part and imaginary part of my samples. This picture shows. Now I got my raw baseband RF data. Okay, now I want to convert this baseband data or raw RF data into image data, because the CNN model only will accept the image data. So the captured samples is 6 into 10 5. After downsampling, it has been downsampled to 25,000 samples, but even I feel this is very large. Just I have taken the 6272 samples. So how I achieved a 6272 samples is, I know 28 cross 28 is the default size or maximum size I can give as input to the CNN. So 28 into 28, I have 2 channels. I want to give for 2 channels, in phase channel, quadrature phase channels. So 28 into 2 is nothing but 1568. So I am taking 4 such samples, 4 such matrices. So out of 1500, I am taking only 6272 samples. So I am reshaping my data. I am taking 4 sets of 28 cross 28 into 2. So total is 6272 samples I am passing it. So each one sample out of this, out of the 621 each one sample is, okay, I am training for 100 times. So that's why for 100 samples, okay, each sample has to be trained 100 times. So 100 sample. So now this will be into 100. Okay, so 400 such matrices I'm going to take. Each matrix is of size 28 cross 28 cross 2. So with this, now converting the complex data into the real data. So I showed you in the last slide. So real samples 784, that imaginary sample, that is 28 cross 28 is 784. Okay, 784, how the real format and the imaginary format. Okay, concatenated for samples is nothing but including both my real and imaginary. So 784 plus, 7 included my real and, so 784 plus 784 will be my 1568 samples. So completely I am converting my raw complex data into my real image data. Okay, so 156. So this is how the image looks like. Okay, so total is one matrix. Okay, 1568. It is arranged in 28 2. So this is for first in phase channel, that is 128 cross 28. This is second 28 cross 28 for quadrature phase, in phase quadrature phase channel. Okay, so if I am Okay, this is the step by step layers of my convolution layer. So CNN layer wise implementation and parameter calculation. So the first input I'm applying here, it is of just ignore this n. Okay, the input size is 28 cross 28 cross 2. So you have seen how you got this 28 cross 28 visually in the last slide. Okay, so this is the input I'm giving to my convolution layer. So here I'm doing three stages of convolution. Okay, so first is convolution. All convolutions and max everything I'm doing only in 2D. That's why this 2D. The first stage convolution. So the input image is coming. I'm using 64 filters or kernels, which I explained you already in the what are the different layers in the convolution layer. Okay, so I'm using such 64 filters or kernels of size 3 comma 3. So that's why 64 filters, size is 3 comma 3. Okay, input is 2, that's why here 2, and output is 64 filters will be there. So 64 filters after doing convolution with the 3 cross 3 filter. Okay, 64, you will be having a 64 thing. So the filters will be used here. So each filter will have one bias term. Since I'm using the 64 filters term, 64 bias term will be added here. So if you do multiplication addition, you will get 1216 parameters. Okay, so convolution is nothing but this 28 cross 28, this input matrix values or input pixel values. I am doing convolution with a filter of 3 cross 3. That 3 cross 3 will have its own filter weights. Okay, I am going to do convolution. I am going to generate an output feature map. That output feature map is passed to the max pooling layer. The function of max pooling is just to downsample the image. It has to reduce the size of image 28 cross 28 to 14 cross 14. So downsampling means divide by 2. So it reducing the size of the image in order to extract the further fine features deeper. Okay, so that you can extract the edges of the edges of the image. Okay, but I'm retaining the number of filters as same. That's why here also 64. In max pools you are doing only the down sampling, you are not doing any convolution, there are no any filters. So that's why no parameters are calculated in the max pool layer. You are doing convolution with the filter in the convolution layer. That's why bias terms get added and the parameters also present in the convolution layer, whereas all those things absent in the max pool. In the max pool just you are downsampling the size of the image. Now I am repeating the second stage convolution. Okay, with whatever the max pool layer, the output of the max pool layer is fed to the input here. Okay, so here I am selecting a filter of 30. I am reducing my number of filters, okay, from 64 to 32. So here the input is input is 64 is coming, that's why 64. The output of this convolution is, because I'm using in this 32 filters only, so the output will be 32 and the corresponding filter weight is 32. In convolution layer I'm always using a filter or kernel of fixed size of 3 comma 3. That's why here also it's 3 comma 3. So this is some corresponding resultant parameters. Again I'm max pooling it, downsampling it. So 14 divided by 2 becomes 7. In max pool layer only downsampling, no parameter calculation. Now I'm going to the third stage convolution. So here also I'm taking my number of filters to be 32. Okay, so the filter size is fixed, kernel sizes, so 3 cross 3. Input is also 32. Whatever the number of filters I am using in the convolution stage 3 is also 32. For 32 filters I have 32 biases. So total number of parameters. Next, the third stage max pool layer after convolution max pool. Here again I am downsampling. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. I am taking the seal of the values. That's why it's rounded to 44 comma 4. Okay, flattening. Flattening is nothing but multiplication of all those things. So these much pixel values will be there. That will be your input nodes. Okay, so 512 is the input nodes. Till here, okay, you are doing the feature extractions. Okay, so after feature here you are applying your neural network schemes. Okay, so your back propagation takes place in these two layers. Okay, from 512 input nodes, so it goes adjusts the weights in back propagation. So the new weight is adjusted from its old weight using the learning rate and incremental changes. Okay, you are updating the weights going for every pass. You are going moving backward. You are updating your new weights. So from 512 input nodes, you have reduced it to 128 nodes. From the 128 nodes, you are applying your output. You are combining your output. That is, you are applying your softmax criterion, and you are deciding the number of classes. So here I fixed 4 or 3, whatever else finally. And here dense layers, these two dense layers are the fully connected layers. Here also you are having your parameters to be calculated. Here we are not using any filters here, so only an input and output is there. In this case, if you take the input is 512 nodes, output is 128 nodes. Okay, so this dense layer, you have a bias terms, so 128 is there. Okay, it has been the output is 65664 parameters. Okay, since it is doing back propagation, okay, you are multiplying. Okay, you are doing some kind of multiplying operation, that factor has been subtracted from your old weights in order to get the new weight, or in order to update some kind of multiplications phenomenon is there. So some kind of, that's why this bias terms is include. You are using some filters, so that's why this back propagation, some filters you are using to update the weights. Okay, that's why you have the bias terms in this layers. Okay, so with this you are getting some 95108 total parameters. All these parameters have to be trained by your Keras model using your TensorFlow backend. So this is the structure, CNN structure in Keras with TensorFlow background. So input image size, 3 stages of convolution. So ReLU function is applied in the convolution layer itself. It removes all the non-linearities present in the local regions of your input, or the pixel values. Any non-linearities is there, it removes everything. Okay, next is max pool layer, corresponding max pool layer is there. Then your dense layer, softmax layer, finally your one shot. Here you are classifying your, you are predicting your images based on scores, whatever it is. So this is a feature map after the first convolution layer. You know that in the first convolution layer, I told you that I have used 64 filters. So if you see, there are 8 rows, 8 columns, 8 into 8, 64 filters. Okay, 64 filters I have applied to extract the features of my input image. So here I am taking the just only one first filter image alone in the next slide. So if you see here, 0 into after 25, so it is like it is restricted to only 28, because the input image size is 28 cross 28. Okay, 28 cross 20, this 28 28. Okay, like this you'll be having for two things, one for in phase and Q phase channels. Okay, so this represents the amplitudes of your finer details. Okay, this represents how fine details your the grayscale images present at the side. Next one is max pool layer. The first stage, max pool layer. Max pool layer also you are using the 64 number of filters. Here you are just downsampling the image. Okay, so 64, 8 into 8, 64. In that I am taking the first filter image alone has been displayed here. In max pool layer, I told you are doing downsampling. Okay, so 28 divided by 2, 14 cross 14. So if you see here, this is 14 and this is 14. This represents a grayscale of the fine details in your max pool region. Similarly, I am doing for the convolution layer 2. Okay, convolution layer 2 I use 32 filters. Okay, 8 into 4. So 8 rows, 4 columns, 8 into 4, 32. Okay, in that first filter alone I am taking the fine details of the first filter. So this is a 14 cross 14. Okay, because from downsampling, whatever the image size is there, the same thing will come. Okay, so it is a 14 cross 14. Now the second stage max pool layer, you are using the same number of filters. So 32, 8 into 4, 8 rows into 4 columns, 32 filters. The first filter image I am taking. So this is a second stage downsampling. So now 14 divided by 2, 7. So you are getting 0 to 7 cross 7. Okay, the corresponding grayscale values. Now we are going to enter into the third stage. So third stage also I'm using the same 32 filters. If you want, you go back and you can check it in the table. So again 8 into 4. So you can see the finer features here. Compared to the second stage, you can see the finer features. So it has well improved compared to the feature map after the convolution layer 2. You can see here the features are well improved here. Now I'm taking the first image only. So just I'm extracted the first image. So it is a 7 cross 7 image. So 7 cross 7, you can see this one. Now the third stage max pooling. Okay, yeah, I'm using the same 32 filters only I'm using. That's why 8 into 4 32. Okay, in that I'm taking the first filter image. Okay, so downsampling, so 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. see 3.5, but I'm sealing it to level 4. Okay, after 3 stages, flatten layer. The flatten layer, first flatten layer I have for 512. Okay, if you want, you go back and refer in the table. So 500 and little more, some more samples are there. 512. This is a grayscale image of 512. Okay, this is for okay, this is actually I shown into two different section. Okay, only this is a correct image. Okay, the next one is output of the flattened layer 2. That is second flattened layer or the dense layer, second dense layer. So from 512 I have been reduced to 128 samples. So 120 plus 8. Okay, 128 samples. The third thing is finally your confusion matrix. That is, finally you applied your softmax criterion. From the 128, no 128, you are classifying your 4 classes. Okay, so I have trained the signal for 3 different frequencies: GSM, LTE and WFM, and the rest other frequencies I considered as the others. So confusion matrix between the predicted and the actual thing. So GSM, there is no problem, it is correctly determined, and other signals is also correctly determined, but there is a slight confusion. So this color so 20 percentage, okay, almost some close to 20 percentage, there is a little confusion between the LTM and my WFM signal. So even if you take here, there is a slight confusion, it is misguided whether to classify it as a LTM or WFM. Similarly in this case also, okay, in prediction where it is slightly confused, 20 percentage of the samples decided it is LTE, 80 percentage it has been decided as a WFM. So there is a small misconception. Okay, with this we will wind up. In the next slide we will see how in the next section we will see how to connect your Wi-Fi with your laptop or computer. Okay, and how to run this RF signal classification using CNN. Okay, your Python program on the Wi-Fi, and we'll see how to obtain the results. We'll learn how to run the program on the Wi-Fi and how to analyze your results. Okay, thank you. How you are going to access the Wi-Fi through your computer or laptop. So I open the Linux terminal in my laptop. So I open my command window. Okay, so in my Linux terminal command window, you type the command sudo ssh Wi-Fi at Wi-Fi IP address. Okay, this is the IP address of the Wi-Fi, not my computer, because I'm going to access my computer or laptop. Okay, to the Wi-Fi. So once I enter this IP address, it is asking for the Wi-Fi password. So now I'm going to enter the Wi-Fi password. Okay, y_guy. Okay, so now it shows. So if you want to see the list of experiments in the Wi-Fi, you can go with this sudo bash main.h. okay, if you are going to shut down the laptop, use this following command. Okay, and if yellow light indicates it is capturing or processing the samples, SDR is doing the job. If blue light is glowing, it indicates that the Wi-Fi is idle. Okay, so with this, now we are going to the CNN experiment. Already I created a folder CNN. Okay, in that the folder is going to list all the files necessary for this experiment. So I'm going to type cd capital CNN. Okay, so under CNN folder I am going to work and access all the files. So now ls, okay, so it lists all the files available in the folder. So accuracy.png, so this is nothing but a output file, image file, so no need to explain further here. And this cleanup and data underscore cleanup.sim, these are the files related to cleaning up the files. So if you are a Windows user, then you need these commands. So since I'm a Linux user, I no need of these commands. Collect underscore data, it's a shell file. It is used to collect the data. Next one is dataset. Okay, two different dataset is there. So this dataset.py files are used to convert the SDR samples, whatever the samples collected by the SDM. Now everything has to be converted into the image format. That is RF to image format. I have explained you earlier. So it converts all my RF samples into an image format of the matrices, the 28 cross 28 cross 2 in phase samples, quadrature files. So RF samples are converted into the image format and is stored in the. So the main files here are, okay, if you see in this, there is a two different color, brown color. So this represents the folder, testing data, training data. Okay, this represents the folder where the whatever the signals we are going to generate or we are going to test, everything will be visible here. For example, now if I give ls, okay, ls testing underscore data, okay, which means that it is not listing out anything. That means the folder is empty. Okay, no files found inside. If any files found inside this folder, then it lists out the files present in that testing underscore data. Similarly for the training underscore data. So this white color files represent, these are the files. This blue color represents the folder. Okay, so here we are going to collect the data in two ways or two methods. One is directly from the towers. You are going to collect your GSM signal or LTE signal, FM signal, or so if you are going to or using a Wi-Fi Pro. So if you are going to collect the signal from the towers around you, then you can use prepare data underscore tower. Similarly for training, you can use train underscore Keras underscore tower. If you are going to use a Wi-Fi Pro, that is you are going to use a external transmitter to generate the signals, then you can use prepare data underscore pro or the train Keras underscore pro. Okay, so either two ways. If you are going for tower signals, go with this underscore tower files. If you are going to go with the Wi-Fi Pro, then you select these files. Okay. To start prepare data, you want to assure three main things. Okay, the first thing is whether anything present, any already generated files present under the testing data, training data. So for that you are using the command ls testing underscore data. If suppose in our case there is no data present here, suppose if data is present, then what you have to do is you want to remove the data. So to remove the data, you want to use the any files present here in testing data or training data. You want to remove the file, then you have to go for the command sudo space rm space hyphen small r space testing data. So this will remove all the files present in the testing data. Similarly, you want to remove any files in the training. For example, I am giving a sudo, okay, rm hyphen r, okay, so testing shift underscore data. So it is, since we don't have any files, this is not working. If it is in files there, it will remove all that. Similarly, you can do it for sudo rm minus r removing data. Okay, suppose you don't want to remove it, you want to copy and keep the data for future references, then you can go for sudo space cp space minus capital R, okay, testing underscore data slash, okay, whatever the new file name you want to, you can specify your new file name, so it will go on save it over there. Okay, now you can access this folder. Okay, so since we didn't have any data, okay, you can go for your prepared data. So in our case, today's case, we are going to take three different signals. Okay, first one is FM signal. You know, FM signals working between the bandwidth of 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. For example, you can say 93.5 megahertz FM band or 98.5 FM band. So you can select any one signal under this. Similarly, LTE, so we are going to operate on the LTE 850 band. It occupies the LTE band 19 of standard regulations. So today we are going to use a standard frequency of 883 megahertz or 884 megahertz for the LTE signals. So third signal we are going to use is GSM signal. For GSM signal, you know that the downlink frequency for the GSM is 935 to 960 megahertz and uplink is 890 to 915 megahertz. So we are going to you are going to use the downlink frequency of the GSM, so 935 to 960 megahertz. So I am sitting here, so we don't know what are the GSM towers surrounding what carrier frequency the GSM is operating, or where you are operating your Wi-Fi Pro. Since Wi-Fi Pro is going to collect the data from the tower, we want to know what are the surrounding GSM carrier frequency. So for that, we are using the command call, okay, call space -s space GSM, okay, 900, okay. So now it scans for the GSM signals present under your Wi-Fi or the nearby towers. Okay, so it takes few minutes. Okay, so this is applicable. This call -s GSM 900 is applicable only to find the GSM carrier frequencies. This is not applicable for FM and your LTE signals. Okay, so once you find the carrier frequency, you will be knowing what are the carrier frequencies around your nearby towers is generating the GSM signals. Okay, here I got the three channels, channel 17, channel 20 and channel 828. So the carrier frequency of the towers of the nearby towers are 938.4 megahertz, 939 megahertz, 940.6 megahertz. Similar way, you want to search, okay, your own carrier frequencies. My carrier frequencies for GSM 938.4, 939 and 940.6. okay, now go to sudo nano prepare underscore data underscore tower dot py. That means we are going to prepare the tower signals. Okay, you are going to prepare the data, so you use this command. Okay, so this is not for generating or preparing the signal. If there anything to edit in this particular Python file, so if I give enter, so it is going to the Python file what we have written, how to collect the samples. So if you see here, it imports the numpy packages and all the parameters needed in order to capture the signal, so time, random, string, everything. So now here we are setting a sampling frequency of 2.4 megahertz. Okay, so all these parameters are default. Okay, if you want to change the parameters, you can change outside the program, so you no need to change inside this program. Okay, the next column is showing here, see, read samples. So how to read the samples from SDR. Okay, so all the these parameters are SDR's default parameters, so frequency offset is given to avoid the DC and everything. Next is reading the samples. Okay, so again this is a frequency offset to avoid the DC, and if you go here it is going to collect the samples. See here, collect the samples is frequency. Okay, so first you want to mention at what frequency. That frequencies correspond to what class, whether GSM, LTE or WFM. This responds to the corresponding megahertz. So 880, suppose if I am going to consider LTE, then LTE frequency is 883 or 884 megahertz LTE. decimation rate is, now I'm going to give the 12 megahertz. So I'm creating a training data and testing data. After, okay, in the training data and testing data only, I'm going to go and store my data. Here I have given the value. So how many samples I'm going to collect? Here I'm going to collect 0 to 100 samples. Okay, so this can be increased further. Okay, if more and more samples, it takes lot of time. In order to reduce the simulation time or the computation time, I've given the very lesser number of samples. So 100 samples. So 75% of the samples I'm going to train, and 25% of the collected sample I'm going to test. So that's why the training 75%. Here I mentioned training 75. The rest of the samples I'm going to use for testing. So out of the 100 samples collected from the SDR, 75 is used for training the data and 25 samples is used for testing. So if this number, if you are increasing, then this value also. So you have to go, and it is, you can select any ratio here. So 80, 20 or 50% training, 50%. It is up to the designer choice. Okay. So finally, I am giving here the input. Okay. We have to enter the class name, and I want to enter the frequency so that it starts collecting the data. Once it starts collecting the data, it stores the data in this corresponding folder, training data and the testing data, to continue the training and testing stage. Okay. Suppose if you are going to edit anything, you can edit here. Then you can press Ctrl O, okay, to save the file. If you are not going to do any editing, you can use Ctrl X to exit this command. Okay. So with this, okay, we learned, okay, what are the three main things you want to check before preparing the data. I'll repeat once again. First, you want to use ls testing underscore data and make sure that no files present in the testing underscore data. Similarly, in the training underscore data, these two folders should be empty. Suppose if any files present under this, you want to remove it, then use the command sudo rm space -r testing underscore data. So it deletes all files under the testing underscore data. Similarly, you apply the same command sudo rm -r training underscore data to delete all files. Okay, and second thing is, you want to use this call -s gsm100 to scan the frequencies present nearby towers, because this is not necessary for WFM and LTE, but this is necessary for the GSM frequencies in order to identify the GSM frequencies present nearby towers. So after this, you go to the sudo nano prepare data. If you have anything to edit or add up in the program, you can edit it, Ctrl O to save it, and if you want to exit from there, you can use the Ctrl X. So now all the preliminary requirements to prepare the data has been completed. Now we are going to move on to prepare the data from our nearby towers. For that, use the command sudo prepare data sudo python 3 prepare underscore data underscore tower. Since I'm going to collect data from the tower, I use data underscore tower. If you are going to use data from the pro, then prepare underscore data underscore pro will be here. Okay, here I am setting my decimation rate to 12 megahertz and sampling rate of 2.4 mega samples per second, and SDR1. Since I have one SDR and SDR1, so you no need to go inside the program and to change your input parameters like decimation rate or sampling rate. You can just change the decimation rate here. So suppose if you want for 24 megahertz, change it here. So you no need to go each time inside the Python file to change all the input parameters. So once after giving this command, okay, it asks me the class name. Okay, so today I am going to prepare data for three signals: GSM, FM, and my LTE. So already I scanned my SM. I got what are the carriers of. So I know the carriers frequency of my GSM. So the first signal I am going to prepare is GSM. So I am going to give the name GSM. Okay, it is asking the frequency. So I know the frequency here. So I am giving 938 938, okay, 938 mega 4.44 megahertz, so 3450. So this is equivalent to 938.4 megahertz. So now the data has been started to prepare. So GSM data for a carrier frequency 938.4 megahertz is started preparing. The data has been prepared, okay, for the GSM. Now it is asking me for the next class. So my next class is WFM signal. WFM signal, wideband FM signal. So that's why I am giving the name WFM. So enter. It is asking the frequency of WFM. I am giving 98.5 megahertz band. So 98.5, okay, 5 zeros. Yes, I'll check the zeros once. So it is a 98.5 megahertz band. Okay, I'm giving enter. So now if you see the class name WFM for the carrier frequency 98.5, it starts preparing. Okay, so FM signal starts preparing. WF signal, okay, has been completed for preparation. Now the third signal LTE I am going to give. So I am going to give the name, class name as LTE. I am going to give the carrier frequency of LTE. So 884 megahertz. Okay, I am going to give, okay, 884 megahertz. So for LTE signal, the data has been started preparing. So we have to wait for a couple of minutes. Signal has been prepared and saved. So I have given more number of classes, so it will ask for more number of classes. So here we have just restricted ourselves to three types of signals. I am stopping here, so I am Control C. Okay, if you have more number of signals, then you can add the class name and you can prepare the signal. So now going back to the main program, so CNN LS. Okay, so now I want to whatever the signal have been generated is been saved in the folders testing underscore data and the training underscore data. So if I put ls testing underscore data, so I've generated the three different signals, GSM, LTE and WFM. Same thing, I can cross check whether it is available in the training underscore data. So the data is available in both my testing and training. Okay, now I can run my train underscore Keras tower. Okay, so that it will train my GSM, whatever the data I have kept in that folder, it will train this data and predict my signal. Okay, so in order to do this, okay, I am going to type the following command. Before start running the train underscore Keras, okay, we will see what are the things present in this particular Python file. So that I have entered the command sudo nano train underscore Keras underscore tower dot python file dot py python. So enter, it is going to the Python file. So this program, Python program, has been written to train the Keras convolution network and apply the model for predictions. So first it imports all the necessary files. So if you see in these two files, it imports all the layers of your convolution network, like input layer, dense, dropout, flatten, convolution layer, max pooling, then Keras model, it is importing the model, then all the necessary parameters, okay, for acquiring the signal and plotting the convolution matrix, okay, and finally to see the classification report, to accept the samples from the accept the SDR samples, okay, all those things has been, and also have imported the Keras to work on the TensorFlow background. Okay, the next one is, this is the plot for plot. This is the definition for plotting the training accuracy, validation accuracy, similarly training loss and validation loss with respect to the epoch. So this couple of lines is to plot the plot. So X label, if you see epoch, Y label is your accuracy. So you have for model accuracies your validation accuracy, okay, validation accuracy and your model accuracy or training accuracy. Similarly loss, you have validation loss, okay, and your model loss. So model loss specifies the, okay, so here loss means training loss, validation loss. Similarly more training accuracy, this is validation accuracy. Next, for visualizing the filters and feature maps. So in this convolution layer, so we are using the filter. What is the filter bias? So every one filter, okay, you will be assigning the biases, okay. So how many number of filters we are going to use here? So I represents the number of filters we are going to use in the convolution layer. So thus you can specify this value in the train underscore Keras program, okay. Next is plotting the feature map. So every layer, how to plot the feature map. So at the end of the convolution max pool layer, how the my convolution model has extracted the features, okay. Step by step we are going to see the feature maps in each stage of the convolution. Next is plotting the convolution matrix. So plotting the convolution matrix, you need the test data, okay. So here you are going to you compare your predicted data with your actual data, then based upon the number of errors only your confusion matrix has been created and plotted. Okay, these a couple of lines is to plot the confusion matrix, and here if you see classification report, this gives all your necessary scores regarding your classifiers. Next, define some of the functions here. So again we are defining, so you are collecting the SGR sample size. So whatever the SGR samples you have collected, at what decimation frequency and what sampling frequency has been specified here. So next step is these are the inbuilt parameters of your SDR, because SDR has to read the samples, okay. So this is a function to read the samples from the predicted samples, okay, from the DAT files. Okay, next one is function that checks the model prediction with the known class. So we have given the class names, right? GSM, LTE. For each class we have created the separate sample. So for each class it has to a complex samples have been created. It has to read the samples and it has to predict the samples, because once it's read the samples, then only you can train the model to predict the signal classes. Okay, now we are moving on to the main program, okay. So here we are telling what is our X train, Y train, okay, the training data folder, where is the path, okay, everything. Then second thing is how the images, because this is a supervised learning technique, so you have to label your image, okay. So that's why I'm labeling my images also in the Y train and my Y test. So for both training and testing and labeling myself, this image is this particular class. So I want to mention that, then only this forms a supervised machine learning technique. So that has been done here. Now your convolution network. So all my RF samples have been converted into the image format. The width and height of the image is 28 into 28. Then have two such sets of image for in-phase channel and for quadruped channel. So 28 into 28 into 2 gives me the 1568 samples. So 1568 samples from the SDR has been sent to the training network. Then here I am using the 3-stage convolution layer. So convolution layer 3-stage, okay. 3 cross 3 is the filter, okay, or the kernel size of the kernel used in the convolution. The 6432 or the filters, number of filters I am using. Then I am using the activation function ReLU. In convolution I am using the zero padding, that's why same. Next step is max pooling. Max pooling, my kernel size is 2,2, okay. Padding same, okay. So both max pooling convolution I am doing 2D, so 2D I am doing 3 stages of convolution max pooling. So 1 2 3 stages. Then flatten, I am flattening my complete data. Then it is passing to the dense layer of 128 and I am applying my ReLU function, and finally I am applying my softmax function to determine the number of classes. Next one, now I want to, so this is a complete convolution network architecture, whatever we have seen in the earlier slides have been implemented here. Now we are going to train the model using the Keras utilities. So in order to train the model using the Keras utilities, so you want to specify what is your input and what is your output, and specifying what optimizer I am going to use. I am going to use the ADAM optimizer, okay, with the categorical cross entropy function. So I am going to calculate the accuracy matrix, okay. I am going to specify the loss function types, okay. I need the based upon the training and the validation loss, okay. I am going to compile and fit the thing. So again here model fitting, if you see, so epochs, the number of times you are going to run your simulation. So 5 epochs. So in each epoch it will the entire samples will be travel forward, back and backward, okay. If any weights has to be updated, training weights has to be updated, everything will be happen. So 5 times such process happens. So you can increase your epochs. So if you increase your epochs, nothing, your simulation time increases, more number of computations also takes place. So in order to reduce the timing, I have kept the very less epochs. Batch size, again it is, you can fix your batch size 32, 250, 256 or 64, whatever. Also the 1568 of samples. So how many samples you are going to send in your batch? So if it is 128, I am going to send 128 samples in one batch. So then you think how many batches will be required? 1568 samples divided by 128 will be your number of batches. Next one is, so I'm to my model I'm giving what is my input and what my output. So model has to be compiled with what optimizers, then I'm fitting the model, and finally model summary has been displayed. Next I'm going to calculate the model accuracy and loss, okay. So that has been calculated in the following set of commands. So okay, finally I want to check the frequency, okay. So for that I'm inputting my frequency. So I'm defining my frequencies here. So in our case we have taken FM, WFM, okay. So and we have taken LT. We have taken only 3 signals. In order to reduce the computation, we have neglected the other things, okay. So for number of inputs, we are inputting for every input we are inputting the class name and the number of frequencies, and finally it is giving the predictions. Predictions have been calculated and it has been displayed in the confusion matrix and the classification report, okay. So I didn't do any changes here. Suppose if you want to change the batch sizes or number of epochs, okay, you can go here and you can, suppose if you want to change to SGD optimizer, okay, you can change the optimizer, you can change the epoch, you can change the batch size, then Control O to save it, okay. Then you can come out. So now Control X to exit from the file. So okay, now we are going to train our Keras, okay, whatever the data we have prepared. So sudo python 3 train underscore Keras underscore tower, my hyphen decimation rate 12 hyphen sampling rate to 2.4 megahertz SGR1. So train the Keras with using TensorFlow Backend has been started. So now if you see, after giving sudo python 3 train underscore Keras underscore tower, so your program is running for decimation rate of 12 and sampling frequency of 2.4 mega samples per second. So 370 plus 200. Okay, so if you see here, right, so 630 plus 270 is something around 900 samples. Okay, so out of the 900 samples, okay, 75 percentage of the samples, okay, has been used for training, and 270 is used for validating. Okay, so I've given 5 epochs. Okay, every epoch it is running. So every, for example, first okay, you can check with the second epoch is running for 6 seconds. Okay, 10 millisecond for every step. So this is my training loss, this value is training accuracy, validation loss, and this is for validation accuracy. For 5 epochs, every epoch it has been given how much time it has been calculated, and this corresponding validation validation loss, training loss, validation accuracy, and the training accuracy has been given here. And finally, model summary. So model summary has been displayed here. So as you see, first layer is input layer. Input layer is a 28 cross 28 cross 2 image. So there is no parameters calculated in the input layer. Convolution layer, first stage, first convolution layer. So I am using 64 filters, the corresponding parameters. Max pooling layer is downsampling there. So 28 divided by 2, so 14 cross 14. The same number of filters, whatever the filters present in the convolution is present in the max pooling layer also. Second stage convolution, I reduce my filters to 32. Okay, but the matrix X will be same. Whatever in the max pool layer, it has been repeated here. Next, max pooling layer, again it has to down convert, so 7 7, same number of filters, 32. Third stage convolution also I have given the 32 filters. Okay, the same size 7 7. The max pooling layer down samples for them, so 3.5. So it has been sealed to a value of 4. Then I am doing my flattening. So 4 cross 4, 8 into 32. 4 cross 4 is 16, 16 into 32 gives me the 5 and 12. Okay, then I am applying my dense. Okay, it has been reduced to 128 pixels from 128. Now I am classifying my signals into 3. That is, I have given only LTE, GSM, and WFM. If I am giving more classes, the classes will be increasing. So the total parameters, all the parameters have been trained. This is for each stage I have given the filters. From the filters I am creating my feature maps. So I have to save all those feature maps. Next step is my confusion matrix is calculated. Okay, so the data needed for the confusion matrix are calculated. So what is my predicted data? Okay, all the necessary parameters needed for the classification score and my confusion matrix have been calculated here. Okay, so the classification layer report has been given at the final. So it is given with accuracy of for the first class, okay, 100% precision. Okay, second class 0.71, and first class 0.7, second class 0.63. It is asking me to enter the frequency. Now I am going to enter the frequency for WFM, that is 1064 megahertz. Okay, I enter the frequency for okay, so it has been predicted as FM with 35.82 accuracy, probability, more probability. So if you want to increase the probability, then you want to increase the more number of samples. So since for run the simulation very faster, we have trained for just for 100 samples. That's why we got very low probability of predicting it is a FM signal. So if you are going on increasing to 500 samples or 1000 samples, then this prediction probability also increases and it will be reaching to more than 90%. Okay, now I am going to enter frequency for LTE. Okay, so 884 megahertz. Okay. Okay, it has also predicted LTE also correctly with 35.54 prediction probability. See here, when I enter the GSM frequency 939 megahertz, it has mispredicted as LTE with 35.27 probability, whereas when I entered the trained GSM frequency, when we scanned, we got 940.6 megahertz. So when I gave this particular frequency, it has correctly predicted as GSM with 94.35%. So here there is some kind of misconception. GSM has been wrongly predicted as LTE. This can be avoided by increasing your training samples higher. So from 100, if you are going for 500 or 1000, this kind of misconception or wrong classification can be avoided. Wrong prediction can be avoided. See how to capture samples from Wi-Fi, okay, to your desktop using the FileZilla tool. So you can see on the left hand side there is a FZ FileZilla tool. I have opened this. So type the IP address where your Wi-Fi has been connected. Okay, so you have to connect the Wi-Fi connected IP address. Enter the username, password, and port number. Give quick connect. So connected. So you can see two sides, left hand side and right hand side. Right hand side is nothing but your Wi-Fi. Okay, Wi-Fi CNN folder will be there. Whatever the data generated, left hand side. Right hand side, Wi-Fi folders, prepared data, what are the train Keras program, your output saved, everything is available on the right hand side. Left hand side is your home directory. You can create your directory, whether you want to keep it in the desktop or any drive. Okay, here see here you can see the confusion matrix, feature map. Okay, train underscore Keras. So I am selecting few files, 5 files, then I am copying it to my desktop. I'm just giving download. It has been downloaded in my desktop. So you can view what are the files I downloaded there. Everything has been copied to your home desktop. So you can select whatever the thing, or you can select. So now this represents the confusion matrix. So we have given only for the 3 signals, GSM, LTE and WFM. So compared the 3 signals. So whatever the actual and predicted matches, so there is no confusion between the signals. So every signal, it is 100%, it is matched, so it is correctly classified into 3 classes. So this diagram gives the feature map. So I showed you in the first stage I used 64 filters. So this represents 8 rows, 8 columns. So total 64 filters, 64 features. Okay. Okay. Now in the second stage, I've used second stage I used the 32 filters. Okay, so 4 rows, 8 columns, so 32 filters. So this is a second stage feature map extraction. So now this is the third stage. Third stage also I kept the filters to be 32. So 8 rows into 4 rows into 8 columns. So 32 filters in the third convolution stage. So if you see here, you can find lot of features have been extracted deeply. So there is a lot of difference between the second stage feature map extraction and the third stage feature map extraction. So a lot more features are deeply analyzed in the stage 3. Okay, so now this is the